and just think outside the box and get the views.
Oscar De La Hoya wastes my time.
Boxing is the best, the purest, the most beautiful sport in the world when the best fight the best.
I mean, I think he should go down and win a title at 160 because he won at 47, 40, 54, 68. Go get 60 and you got to close it out. That's fine.
Us fighters who get in the ring and risk our lives, you know, there's enough pie for everyone.
Oscar De La Hoya says he will always make a mistake. To build his legacy, Terence Crawford climbed the mountain and beat Canelo Alvarez. According to De La Hoya, this created a new huge problem that we will talk about later. Oscar's clear warning to profit, and Shaw explains why a fight with Charlo is more than just a hard matchup. It is easy to say bad things about something after it happens, but Oscar De La Hoya was one of the few well-known people who said Terence Crawford would beat Canelo Alvarez.
Which I feel Crawford will win.
Yeah. Okay.
But it'll be a great fight.
Yeah.
In a talk with Ariel Helwani, Oscar said that the result did not surprise him at all. He didn't just pick the winner. He figured out why days before the bell rang.
I've always been impressed with Terence. Yeah.
Were you surprised?
I was not surprised at all. I mean, I called it, I don't know how many days before.
De La Hoya, who had backed Canelo for many years, said, "I know Canelo well. I know without any doubt what he can handle and what he cannot.
And what he can handle, where he looks great and where he doesn't." And Crawford was the perfect opponent or fighter to derail the train. That was the bottom line. You move on Canelo.
He was sure of his prediction when the Canelo train went off the rails because he knew something others did not. That is also what he is using now to tell Crawford what must happen next. It was not just a guess. A skilled surgeon who knew the fighter's weak points better than anyone gave him a serious beating. When you hear what he says next, it is important to remember that. What did De La Hoya think was the final flaw? It was not about power or chin. Oscar laid it out very clearly. Canelo gets confused when you move even a little on him. He said that Canelo's feet were stuck to the ground, which turned him into a fixed target for a boxing expert like Crawford.
To tell you I told you so.
I tell you!
I predicted the Canelo-Crawford fight like a goddamn fortune teller.
You're the Oracle?
Canelo's feet were cemented on the canvas as he was hitting air. What the f was that? Props to Crawford.
Thank you.
He came up 3 weight classes and fought a beautiful fight.
Good job.
What a great performance.
Did you get what you was looking for?
Oscar said again on Clapback Thursday that Crawford was simply playing with Canelo and making him look foolish. He fired back that Crawford is older and did not accept any excuses about Canelo being too old.
With Canelo, made him look silly. And before you start with your shit about Canelo being old, just know that Crawford is older.
I'm too old.
That's not an excuse here. Look, I promoted Canelo's entire career.
Put some respect on it.
And it was a huge flop.
How do you like them, Max?
The only real fighters he's faced were Mayweather, Bivol, and Crawford.
This breakdown is very important because it highlights the gap between Crawford's skill and Canelo's specific flaw. Crawford won by exploiting a very clear weakness in his opponent. But his next opponent may not have that same weakness, and that fight will silence many doubters.
It'll silence a lot of doubters. Not all of them, but it'll silence a lot of doubters. And he can move on to the next challenge. And then that next challenge is possibly a top 10 in the world. I think the smaller Charlo could be even more dangerous. The smaller Charlo has speed and fights harder, and he's in your face. It's a great payday for him, and he took that into consideration when making the decision. It's going to be a tough task. I mean, 2 weight divisions is historical if he wins, and 2 weight divisions if he loses.
It often turns out to be the best way to beat a certain kind of opponent. There is no way around that. The honest answer from De La Hoya when Ariel Helwani asked if Crawford would stay hungry as champion was no. Why? Because he wants 7 or 8 figures now, so he might try something different. This is the biggest problem for Crawford. It is not a punch, a right hook, or a weight class.
Do you think he retires? No,
Not at all.
Now he's making the big bucks, right?
Well, now he has a taste of 7 figures, 8 figures, whatever it might be. Once you get a taste of that.
Oscar said a boxer will start making mistakes once they get that big payday late in their career. He has seen this story before. You are no longer hungry for the title. Instead, you feel satisfied with your bank account. The mistake is not that they fail to train. It is when you fight, who you fight, why you fight, and how money can make you feel a little lazy. It changes everything.
Charlo, super boring fight. I mean, he just showed up for a paycheck. Canelo, obviously, like I said, on quicksand, throwing bombs. He won easy. But anyway, look, if we want boxing to survive, if we want boxing to thrive, we need super fights, like all the time. Fighters must fight each other. We have to come together. Promoters, Eddie Hearn, Al Heyman, Bob Arum, whoever's out there, let's come together. I'm calling you out. Let's come together. Let's meet the power of the minds and come up with something.
The advice you can take is to notice when your goal shifts from wanting to be great to just wanting to make money. That is when you become weak. Sit down, Terence Crawford, you beat a fighter head on. Your phone keeps ringing. Every deal is huge. Do you think you can lose? This is exactly the time De La Hoya said a fight with Charlo would happen. That mistake is summed up by Charlo. Oscar said it is possible for Crawford to pick the wrong opponent and lose. So why Charlo? Because Charlo is more dangerous than Canelo. He is not caught off guard. He weighs around 150 pounds and holds a grudge against someone. He was determined to make up for his loss to Canelo. He represents the classic trap fight. Fighters who are already looking past him might see this high-risk, hard-to-beat opponent as just another paycheck.
I could have gained a little bit more weight in between, from the weigh-in to that time, but I can't control my body, and I can't, but like God had this already written, and I'm glad that I was in there with, to put on the performance for Showtime pay-per-view.
In your perspective, why don't you think he could have stopped Charlo?
No, he could have stopped Charlo. He should have. I mean, first of all, you had a fighter who was there just for the payday, literally. I mean, he's in the biggest stage of his life. Go out there and take some risks. Fight hard. People paid their money. People buy it on pay-per-view. Fight hard, because when you fight hard, you don't lose anything. When it's a great fight.
Crawford has to deal with more than just Charlo's skill. There is also the urge to be careless in this fight because the last win looked so easy. But what about the risk to your health? Do not forget about Charlo. He has already felt what a real super middleweight strength is like. After losing to Canelo, Charlo was very honest and said Canelo is a beast who takes advantage of other fighters. That might have made me feel that way even more because it was my first time in this weight class. He said he wished he had put on more weight.
Would anybody say that's a 50-50 fight? Canelo got good inside game, but he gonna have to get past Charlo long arms. And Charlo, he can use his reach good. He's strong. He got a good jab. It's a toss up with me.
That's going. Charlo got that punching power. I'm just gonna say that.
I think
Charlo's best tool now is the experience he has gained. He now has a solid idea of what power at 168 pounds feels like. Crawford, who started his career as low as 135 pounds, may have been able to handle Canelo, but Charlo is now used to him. The fact that Charlo told Crawford about Canelo's strength is a clear message. You do not know how to handle this kind of power. That experience brought Charlo a super middleweight down to earth, which makes him much more dangerous next time. De La Hoya was very angry about the fight between Canelo and Charlo. He said Charlo was only there for the money and not to take any real chances. But no matter what anyone says, that is a 50-50 fight.
So I think it's a great fight. I just think that the press conferences were freaking lame.
Why?
Just because it was all staged. I mean, come on, guys. Look, if you want to see Canelo pissed off, take a look at my press conference. with Munguia and Canelo. That's Canelo pissed off.
De La Hoya wastes my time with this question.
Yeah, we saw Oscar De La Hoya trying to say that the fight was going to take place maybe in the daytime.
Yeah, this is what I want from you, to say his name. I decide with Dana White to have a breakfast in MGM at 10 a.m. inshallah. Then we will go to the arena to have the fights quick, and after that we will go dinner to Carbon, and in the night we will watch Conjuring because it will launch in September. You waste, Oscar De La Hoya waste my time with this question. Of course, this is in the peak. This is the boxing, the sport #1 in the world. This is Canelo and Crawford.
This complaint shows exactly why Charlo is so dangerous right now. The big check has already been cashed. That experience already made him feel bad for putting on a passive show. The Charlo who fights Crawford will not be the same person who fought Canelo. He will want to redeem himself so badly that he has nothing to lose and everything to gain. Crawford sometimes has bad dreams about the risk-taking version of Charlo. Crawford fought very smart against Canelo because he took advantage of an opponent who was predictable and caught off guard. But Charlo, who is fighting for his career desperate and unpredictable, is a whole different animal. It is easy to understand. Never underestimate an opponent who has been publicly shamed before and has learned from it.
Because it was boring. What? I mean, when a fighter throws one punch, when two fighters throw one punch in one round, I mean, what do you expect? I mean, I'm a fighter who has been in there, in the line of fire, throwing 100 punches around. Like, the fans want to be entertained. So that was my critique, is coming from a fighter, coming from a world champion. Yeah, it was.
You need to think about the alternate story growing online, helped along by sites like Boxing Ego. This argument says Crawford's whole resume is made up of damaged fighters. People say he beat a weak boxer named Ricky Burns, a 5'5" Gamboa who was moving up in weight, a Jose Benavidez who had been shot in the leg, a Kell Brook whose eye sockets were broken leaving him nearly blind, and an Errol Spence who had been in a car crash and had his retina removed. Some even say the Canelo he beat was not fresh and had slowed down. If you accept this idea, then Charlo, who is not recovering from a career-threatening injury, could be one of the first truly great, healthy, and bigger opponents Crawford has ever faced. But let us shut down that damaged goods idea right now, because it is not true. One thing beats all of them, and that is fighting IQ. There was a discussion on Reddit saying Canelo only had problems with boxers who have higher IQs like Mayweather, Bivol, and now Bud. That is the truth. Crawford does not just win over time. He does it by breaking down his opponent's whole mind. He does not just beat fighters. He takes them apart. People use the damaged goods excuse all the time. Crawford's mind is his strongest weapon, and he would use it against Charlo. The problem is not his resume. The question is whether his IQ can once again help him figure out how to beat an opponent who is naturally bigger, stronger, and more desperate.
The UFC signing hundreds, if not thousands of fighters, and they don't even see the light of day. There's total transparency with the bill. You're obligated as a promoter to disclose, everything that might be in the pot. The fighters call it the pot. And you're obligated to disclose, the financial status of your event, of the fighter's event. If you're a main event fighter, a championship fighter, you have every right to look at the books. And with this amendment,
De La Hoya himself set the tone. He said the undercard fight between Canelo and Crawford was a waste of money for Turkey and that the matchmakers should be fired. Interview 13. Bad blood and fights between promoters lead to weak undercards, which slows down the sport. De La Hoya also said he was sad that Showtime was leaving boxing, calling it bad for the sport, but said it would also create new opportunities for others.
The week of the Canelo fight, they tried doing some contender boxing stuff. You're having precious contenders, right? Who I know can become world champions 3, 4, 5 years down the road. They're getting eliminated and beat. And you're never gonna hear from them again. That's not fair to the fighter. Now, If that's fair business to them, more power to them. Let them build whatever league they're trying to build. It's okay. Boxing here is safe with me and Eddie Hearn and Frank Warren, the serious guys in the sport. The guys who respect the history and the honor that comes with it. You have a global platform. Netflix, Canelo Alvarez versus Terence Crawford. Every fight that a new audience is gonna watch should have been a known name, should have been champion versus champion. The matchup should have been better. I thought it was a slow night. Completely a slow night. It was still great for boxing because it's out there and people are...
For a boxer like Crawford, this means his 8-figure paychecks are now at risk. He might have to take a tough fight like Charlo just to get paid instead of waiting for the right one. The chaos behind the scenes becomes a real obstacle to doing his job.
About that meeting, what you guys have going during the press conference.
Yeah, there's really no details I can mention, but let's just say that some really big fights are going to happen very soon. And that's why I called out all promoters like Eddie Hearn, like Al Heyman, who's probably going to be impossible to talk to because nobody ever sees him. But we want to bring promoters together to work together and just create the biggest fights possible for the fans. That's all I want to do, and that's what boxing deserves.
With TKO coming in, Showtime going, and promoters suing each other, there is no one in charge.
I just think that without that rule there, without that clause there, or wiping out the Muhammad Ali Act, the fighter is vulnerable. The fans are not gonna watch real boxing, and real boxing is the best talent that's developed fighting the very best talent. They're never gonna see that because they're gonna eliminate each other in their first fight.
Time is the biggest problem for Crawford. Charlo, Boots, and Virgil are not the only fighters he can face, but he has to choose carefully each time. He only has a few years left before these younger, hungry lions take over.
I think he should go down and win a title at 160 because he won at 47, 40, 54, 68. Go get 16, you got to close it out. That's fine.
Yeah. Would you like to see a rematch with Canelo?
Not really.
Okay, what about Canelo, I guess? What would you like to see in the future
I don't know. Canelo can do anything he wants to. He's done so much already. There's really not much left for him to do. So it's really, I think Canelo probably...
If that fights Terence Crawford, I know he's 160.
Yeah, there's a lot of possibilities.
Because that would be the next massive fight.
Well, yeah, absolutely. Right? I mean, imagine that. That would be the next massive fight. But then you have guys who are, the gatekeepers like Fundora.
Yeah.
Who's an amazing champion. I don't know how marketable that fight can be. We have to go through the system. And the system is WBA, WBC, WBO, and IBF. Because fighters, first of all, love fighting for world titles. That's
right, everyone. Stay tuned for the latest in boxing news, highlights, events, and stories. Subscribe to and turn on notifications so you never miss an update. Be sure to watch our other videos too. Until next time, take care and stay safe.